the schools shut, pandemic happened, the whole world came to a pause. Like my dad says, the earth's on lunch break, he says. He says, we've overworked it. He
Absolutely.
says, we've overworked it so much, it's on pause, it's on a lunch break that you can't trouble the lunch break now, right?
Yes.
I said,
Yes.
so I thought of starting my own practice, but was not very confident in it. When you start something new, you're always like, okay,
Yes.
do I deserve it? Will people come to me? On what basis do I start? And one fine day, I think it was 2 months of the pandemic. I was like, it's enough. I can't sit anymore, and let's start this. And that's when I started Safe Space. And I kept thinking of the name so much, what to do it. I said, nothing like Safe Space, right? Safe Space will define my work, and anybody who reads Safe Space will at least have a hunch about, okay, what is this about?
Yes.
And that's how I started Safe Space, and it's going to be a year in a month. So it
Fantastic.
feels great
Fantastic.
to involve you here.
So Dimple, we have to congratulate you for the safe space. Okay.
Thank you.
I would like to formally introduce you now.
Yeah,
We've heard your beautiful journey. I think, and in life we end up reaching where we want to reach, no matter what happens, if we are just a little assertive about it. When you take control,
very true.
you're assertive, and you just go for it. We end up actually leading to the path that we were meant to be at.
I
So I think,
think,
I think
yeah.
I think the safe space with you is that. And so congratulations on a year of that. um, you know
Thank you.
so for everyone who's listening, we're with Dimple Sharma. She's a counselor. She has started her own mental health counseling initiative called the Safe Space. She does a lot of counseling consultations, helps a lot of young adults um, you know resonate more with their behavioral patterns, relearning things that can help them in life. So Dimple, I'm very, very happy to have you on board today. um, you know um, Thank you for being a part of Voice It. I would want to, because it's the first episode. I want to talk about the reason why I wanted to do Voice It. Very early on in my career, I realized that health and wellness, of course, stems from everything that we are consuming, right? Food at the end of the day, um, you know, is energy. And the kind of once the pandemic hit, we are very aware about the fact that if life comes to a standstill, right, we're forced to be with ourselves. And
Very true.
it's
Very true.
been quite a hard journey for a lot of people to actually stop, pause, as you said earlier, look into themselves, cater cater more for their mental health, for their well-being, for their fitness, for their health, for their nutrition. So with Voice It, my goal is to bring in different beautiful human beings like you, experts in their own fields, who help people, who are not afraid of talking about the different modalities in which they help people, the
Mhm.
different ways that mental health is now being discussed, the way that it is being approached. The platform has to be something where I believe if food is what you are consuming, energy is what you're consuming, then even content is what you are consuming. So the idea with Voice It is to give people real conversations with real people, make difficult conversations, make difficult topics, a very easy thing to do in larger circles with our parents, with our family, with our friends, for us to be able to talk about important things and not just always sugarcoat things. So this is a platform where we want to do real conversations, and we want our real conversations to then be a part of everybody's dinner table conversations, to make it that easy for people to be able to understand and resonate with everything that is being said on this platform. So thank you for coming on and being our first guest. I would like to tell everybody our topic for today. Okay, it's a very, very interesting topic. It's very close to my heart as well. It's men's mental health, right? We'll get to asking you in a bit um, why mental health for men has to have a separate topic. and why it is not a part of, the main conversations that are happening, but men's mental health is something that is the need of the hour. We need to speak about this. We need more and more people to be aware about this. Also, the fact that, we see so many examples in our daily life, and then, we somewhere down the line feel a little helpless to be able to reach out to people, to be able to talk to people, have open conversations with men who we see clearly are, suffering in some way or the other, you know. So, Dimple, tell me one thing, with the experience that you have, with the different kind of people that you meet, the counseling that you do, right? Is depression for men different than than depression for, the majority of people, like women, kids, is depression for men different?
Uh, I want to thank you first for such a wonderful introduction, and I'm glad to be here too. And you've chosen a very, very important topic, mental health, which is, I think, the need of the hour now.
Yes.
And they never talk about themselves. They are never trained or brought up like that to talk about themselves, right? So I think, as you asked, is depression different? So depression is something like it's an illness. It defines the same thing, but it affects differently for different people. It will affect differently for kids. It will affect differently for adolescents, for women, for men, because the way men are brought up, right, and the way they're conditioned, we're biologically different people. And you if you see a woman to woman, if they meet for the first 15-20 minutes, they can talk about themselves, and they can
Absolutely.
discuss about how they're feeling, and
Uh,
how they have, because feelings have always been a very big part for women, because when they express their feelings, everybody wants to come and wipe their tear, right?
yes.
But if men come and cry in front of you, like kya ro raha hai,
Yes.
क्या लड़कियों की तरह रो रहा है, this is what we tell them.
Yes.
And so I think depression for them gets a little different in their behavior, where because they do not know what's happening, first of all.
Yes.
Their symptoms could be a little different, like they would be a little more angry, I think, a little more aggressive in their approach, is because they're not understanding what's happening inside,
Yes.
right? And so I'm not trying to be sexist here, but for men, when they want to, if you see in school also, okay, I'll give you a school example. The
Yes.
naughtiest boy in the class, or the one who's bullying others, he must be going through something in school, in his home, something happening at home, or somebody he is bullying him, or he is thinking something that comes out in anger.
Yes.
Because when they cry, they are asked, stop crying. When they're sad, why you sad?
Yes.
So, all of these things, so that comes out in anger. It has to come out somewhere, right? So for them, depression gets into, they would get into, say, more aggressive mode, and would not know, because even a counselor to understand the symptoms of depression, what we've always been given, would be a little more different for them. And so I think, yeah, depression is slightly different for them. And because they can't express,
Yeah.
is what I think.
Yes. Dimple, you pointed out very well that, they are not taught to, there's no conditioning. There's no conditioning in school. There's no conditioning at home. The education system doesn't do this for the boys or the men, at a younger age also. Um, Dimple, I want your thoughts on, how it is that, if at a later stage in life, right? Let's say, for example, um, once a boy realizes, that there is some help that I need, okay, what are the initial steps to follow? What can boys and men do to start the process? Because I always feel that the initiation of something is the most difficult part. For women, it
Yes.
stems from feelings, right? As you said, right? We have a way of channeling our pain in different ways. You very correctly mentioned the fact that anger for men, their channel of pain has always been anger. What else is anger if not the opposite side of pain, right? That's what it is, a projection of
Yes,
pain,
yes, that's what anger is. Yes.
right? So I think men are conditioned in a way where they're supposed to project anger to look masculine if they're in pain, right? So Dimple,
Yes.
can you help us with some pointers, some steps, initial steps, so that boys and men know where to start or know how to start?
I think that at a very early stage of life, when when we have our own boys or own boys at home, so to talk to them about feelings, if they come to you, say that they had a bad day at school, don't tell them to man up.
Yes.
Don't tell them to, ये लड़का वाला लड़कियों की तरह क्यों रो रहा है. Even the girl would say that,
The vocabulary
even the
is
girl
wrong.
in the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the vocabulary used all the time is so wrong.
Exactly. Is so wrong. Is absolutely, you're in fact telling them that men don't cry. You're telling them men don't feel pain.
Yes.
Bollywood mat ko dard nahi hota hai. That's how heroes started.
Yes.
And so much of projection towards them that you don't feel pain, you don't feel you don't be sad, you're going to always man up.
Yeah.
So their condition is, as you said, it's so strong in the base to man up. So I think to begin with, to empathize with their feelings, to encourage them to talk about their feelings. And when a man is talking to you about his feelings, as in bad day at work or had a breakup with a girl, instead of telling me, "तुझे कोई और मिल जाएगी, move on, yeah," sit and listen.
Yes.
Sit and just don't advise the person, because they're not coming to you for an advice. If he wanted advice, he would have just asked straight away, because they're that straight, right? The advice चाहिए,
Absolutely.
advice दे दो.
Absolutely.
But I think instead of that, to sit and
Yes.
listen to them and talk to them about feelings, and to initiate help, to to tell them how normal it is to go and speak to someone about your feelings. So it's okay, you feel it, I feel it, and everybody feels it.
Yes.
So I think at home, to start with that, because even if you see at home our fathers, right, our fathers, grandfathers, brothers, they never talk about feelings, do they? They
Absolutely.
always talk about, no, I'm responsible, I have to be responsible, and I'm providing for the family. That's what has been taught. That provide for the family, be responsible. You have to grow up and earn a lot of money and settle down with a person.
Yes.
You see the gender roles that we've given to the children since the beginning, that
Absolutely.
you're going to go and you're going to earn
Yes.
for your wife and for your children. So
Yes.
that's how even equality started, right? That why are we having gender roles?
Yeah.
So I think for even for men, then stop those gender roles.
Yes.
Then instead of growing them up saying that hey, you have to grow up and earn money and take care of the family.
Yes.
Instead, tell both the kids to you're going to be independent in life for yourself.
Yeah.
Teach them self compassion. Teach them how important that the love you keep giving outside and keep balancing everything outside. How about you give that inside too?
Yes.
That's important. I think when you grow up with that thought, automated thought will be when you grow up to ask for help or to talk about your feelings,
Yes. Yes.
right?
I think creating
And
that safe environment is very important.
yes,
The earlier
absolutely.
pointers that you, so to sum up, the pointers that you said, I think
Mhm.
to, to provide that safe space at home, for parents to be educated to create this for their boys and for their girls, and for people outside of your house, it could be friends, it could be relatives, it could be everybody, to be, I think, they need to get sensitized about the fact that, men cry, men understand, men have emotions, right? And
Yes,
they will break,
absolutely.
they will break down at one point, and it's going to be okay if he breaks down at one point. I think this sensitization is so important, because Dimple, I don't know if you've realized this or not, but sometimes, because of the role that women play, right? um now, this beautiful thing that you mentioned in the conversation about the gender roles, the inequality that is happening, right? So one of the things that I have realized, or I have noticed, okay, is that, when women are now becoming, more androgynous in their approach, women are becoming more, in power, they're educated, they have, a certain sense of, them, that I would like to say the right way to say it is that there's a lot of awareness and there is a lot of self-love now for women, right? So
Mhm.
this is something that stemmed from a lot of years of repression. That final outbreak has happened because of a lot of pressure for a lot of years on the women, and then this outbreak has happened. So, in the same way, I feel like, with the men also, now if the women are becoming more masculine in nature, more powerful in nature, right, there will definitely be an imbalance where the men also have to start embracing their sensitivity. The men have to start embracing their emotions, right, and be more
True.
open about it, and for the society and for the women around them to be okay with this, to be understanding of this, right? I think this
Absolutely,
sensitization is something
absolutely.
which is very, very important right now.
Very important, yeah. To to make both of them, when you're growing both of them, or to make them understand that both of you may be biologically different, but there are no gender roles in the house.
Yes,
If you grow up in a house like mom working, dad also working in the kitchen, you
yes,
know, they'll grow up thinking, they'll grow up with the thought that okay, all of us can, both of us can work, both of us can work in the kitchen,
normal.
make a meal for ourselves. And why are these, even if you see, I'm not trying to raise something that is controversial, but if you see these advertisement also campaigns, why
Yes,
is there always a woman waiting in the house and a man coming from work,
absolutely. Absolutely.
right? And
I've actually met people and spoken to people who have literally told me that um, I love to cook, but I do not enter the kitchen because I feel that a woman's role is in the kitchen, and if I enter the kitchen, my masculinity might be affected, or my house, the people in my house, or the people around me might be like, ये लड़की जैसे काम क्यों कर रहा है किचन में जाके.
exactly,
This is a very
toxic
open dialogue,
masculinity.
general dialogue that
Yeah.
happens. Yes,
Yes, yes. I would call it toxic masculinity.
yes,
जहाँ पर उनको बताया हुआ है क्या करना है. That is what is toxic, right?
yes,
And even if they want to cook, there'll be shame. They want to, if there's sadness, there'll be shame. It's about how they are judging their emotions.
yes,
Is shame.
yes,
Is because every time when you spoke about it, you were shamed.
yes,
So for your mind, it's structured in a way, right? I call them the script of life. You look at your script in life and you function like that.
yes,
Why would you speak about feelings with someone when you were not taught about feelings, when you were said that these again gender rules, ki girls cry, men don't cry.
absolutely.
And
This the script, Dimple, that you just spoke about, the script needs to change. The vocabulary needs to change,
it's a
right?
change.
That's need
Yes.
that's the aim with today's conversation as well. Dimple, also, with responsibility, you mentioned responsibility, the house, inequality. You mentioned these things. Um, we've come to a conclusion where we've seen research, we've heard a lot of conversation now about the fact that women cannot function well under pressure, and then so do men, right? So when men are given responsibility, and maybe if they're not ready for it at a certain age, right, they could crumble because of the
Mm-hmm.
kind of expectations, responsibilities, right,
Like,
that
yeah,
are put on them
yes.
by society, by parents, by their
And,
siblings.
and at a very young age that begins. Like, if you, I've heard conversations where a parent would tell a 10-year-old kid that, you have to grow up and take care of us. And I'm not trying to, target parents here, but they learned it from their parents too.
Yeah. Yes.
So if you hear a conversation from your parents, an ideal dialogue would be, हमने भी यही सीखा था, आप भी यही करो, right?
Yes.
And हम वो filter process नहीं डाला उसमें कि what can be given and what can be left out,
Yeah. Yes.
right? And I think with the awareness that's coming in now, especially after the pandemic has hit, as you said, that we've got to sit with ourselves and reflect so many feelings. So
Yes.
I think even men are boys are sitting and understanding about emotions. And I conduct workshops in schools, and I know that we talk about emotions, we talk about feelings with the boys and the girls.
Yes.
So how important that is. And there have been feedback from parents and principals where they've come to the, they've said that how they have become more interactive. They've been talking and expressing that they how anxious they are, or when will school start, and parents are actually sitting and listening to them, which is a brilliant thing, I think.
Absolutely. That's the shift that we're talking about, on a larger scale. That is
Yeah,
the shift that we're talking
yeah.
about. Just imagine, Dimple, that if there was every time that we felt anxious, every time that we felt not ourselves, if we could express it openly, if it was easy for us to express it to not a special friend, but to anybody in the house, right? That listen, I'm not feeling a little okay. Can I share something with you?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if
Mm-hmm.
that dialogue is easy with everybody, right? Imagine
Mm-hmm.
how much stress it reduces, or how much how much it would curb down the anxiety attacks that, men or
Yes,
women both survive.
it would definitely, when you share with someone that, I've been feeling anxious, or I've been, had a stressful years together, or, a parent or a sibling or anybody at home
Yes.
can listen to you and, even help you in that matter, that, I think, you should go and ask for help, or, I think this is something that a professional could help you in. So to get that perspective as well. But if the man or men or boy has been given that space to talk about it,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
My dad, when you ask him how you feeling, I'm fine, nothing, oh, what to worry? And it's so natural in him that, what to worry about? I said, what to worry about? Aren't you worried?
Yeah.
So, and it's funny that for everything you say, I'm fine. And it it is not fine here.
Yes.
There are so many stories that they also build. There are, even they overthink, right? Even they overthink about things, that what will happen in their relationship or a job. So
Yeah.
I think to sensitize, as you said, and not to have gender roles is what I think can be started.
Yes, to make it very normal, very, very, very normal for men to
Yeah,
reach out and ask for help, ask for support if they really do need it.
to
And it
ask.
could be
Yeah.
anybody. They could ask this, they could want this from anybody in their life. And for that to be absolutely normal is something what um, is the need of the hour, and something
Yeah.
what we should be looking at in the future, right?
Yes, absolutely. We are making everything normal for women also, right? Like a woman who wants to. I've been reading Instagram posts for bloggers who are, fitness bloggers who will talk about that women can carry weights too, women can become muscular too. So when we are sensitizing this, right? We're all agreeing with everything like that. So why not even begin with the other gender?
Yes.
That
Yes.
you can talk about your feelings too. You
Yeah.
can talk about anything you like. You
Yes.
can express, you can cry, be open and talk about it.
Yeah, and
I
it's
think even in it's absolutely normal to do that. It's absolutely normal. Even two people, I think two friends sitting together, and even the, not shaming if they're opening up,
yes.
not shaming that, hey, why are you anxious? Why are you being a sissy? Grow up, grow some balls. Why? I mean, my point is why.
Yes.
And that's how I think you can begin with sensitizing. Is That's when they'll open up. That's when they grow older,
Yes.
they'll understand that stress is something. There are going to be downfalls, there are going to be failures, and how do I manage it?
Yes.
Instead of getting angry and, penting up everything and then snapping at everybody and getting angry and losing relationships and then wondering what is happening in my life, and then getting even more angry with it. So
Yes.
if you give them a little bit of reflection, I think it will be, even they'll understand feelings, emotions. I
I
know they do.
absolutely agree. I absolutely agree with what you just said. There's another thing which is very closely associated with men's mental health. Slightly controversial, but we'll just touch it. I would want to
Mhm.
know your thoughts on it actually. Substance abuse for men. I think ev- there's it's not a sexist thing actually. It's not something that only a man is going to be doing a substance abuse or something like that. But I think the more open conversations happen about men and the kind of substance abuse that they have been doing over years, or it could be regardless of their age. Like it could be a father who has been an alcoholic for 15, 20 years nonstop, right? It could be a young boy who has just realized that he is a chain smoker, right? So,
Mhm.
without any age barrier or sex barrier, Dimple, can you tell us this association of substance abuse and men's mental health going hand in hand, and how it actually kind of how it plays out over a period of time for them?
Mhm. For as you said, that substance abuse can be with anybody. It could be with a woman or a man or a child. There's no such gender that would only affect one gender. It could affect anybody, right? And I'll tell you something about addiction here. So addiction for anything. So when you're addicted, say when you can't cope up with your feelings, when you can't manage and regulate your emotions, you want to reach out to something that makes you happy,
Yes.
that makes you say, gives you a reward in your mind. So if you look at a brain scan, there are parts of your brain, right, and which lights up when you do something that makes you happy.
It's an
Like
instant
if you work
dopamine
out,
shot. Yes.
exactly, dopamine shots and
Yes.
reward that is there.
Yes.
Same thing is addiction. So when you do something, when you abuse a drug or when you're abusing alcohol, there's this dopamine reward pleasure that comes inside. That wow, I feel so good, and your brain releases those hormones, and then slowly you get used to it, and you're because you know that every time I am stressed, I have a drink, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Every time I do this, and then that becomes a habit. So it becomes such a habit that your brain keeps releasing those rewards. But at one point, it starts releasing, say, not too much, but then you start intaking it even more. When they say that, hey, मेरे में capacity बहुत है, or I can drink a lot,
Yeah.
and I don't get high with so many drinks. But then, it is because you've been abusing it for so long that it has got used to it now. So to have the dopamine reward again, you will keep giving it unless there's no reward.
Yes.
So that's how addiction forms,
Yes.
because you maybe because we couldn't cope up with our feelings. And I would want to even say that, to, as you said, to sensitize a topic about mental health, to even begin to talk about in school, school, to have workshops about addiction, about what it is and what is peer pressure. We do all of that.
You're right.
And it's important for them to understand that you can manage and cope up and regulate your emotions on your own also, by giving yourself the love, or by giving yourself that kindness that we want to,
Yes.
instead of reaching out to something that will give you temporary relief, but a long run you're going to be used to that thing. I'm not saying that drinking is not fine. Drinking occasionally or drinking for fun is absolutely fine, we all do. But then if that becomes a habit of yours, that becomes every time you are into a stress zone or something that's happened to you in your life, you're reaching for a drink, or you're using a drug, that's going to
Becomes a
become
coping
a
mechanism.
set pattern. Coping mechanism is the word. Exactly. That is what it is.
Yes.
To avoid it, it becomes your coping mechanism. So when that is when it's addiction. That's when you know that you can't live without it.
Yeah.
That's when you know that's addiction.
Yes.
So
Also,
for men,
sorry, please go ahead.
no, I was saying, even for men, it's the same thing. For men and women, when they can't cope up with their feelings, or say when they can't manage, say, stress around, there's
Yes.
something that they want to do it to have a dopamine reward, as we said, dopamine
Yes.
shots.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's how addiction is formed. And
Yes. Also, Dimple, correct me if I'm wrong, uh,
Mhm, mhm.
when we speak about substance abuse, when we speak about coping mechanism and emotions, right? Um, I have a belief that, when we're not taught the right kind of coping mechanisms, when we are not educated about this, we're not conditioned about this, when we don't know any other coping mechanism, right?
Exactly,
That
exactly.
when you would actually get onto a substance which is outside of your body, outside of your mind, right? So I think,
Mhm,
I
mhm.
feel that if there is something, you very correctly mentioned, and I'm absolutely in for that kind of a suggestion, in the long run, to make a topic for coping mechanism, to make a topic for substance abuse mandatory for kids in school, so that they understand
Yes.
that you can deal with life with your emotions, you can deal with life with the correct channeling of those emotions, the right kind of vocabulary, the right kind of communication, instead of then relying on something which is kind of just going to temporarily give you something, and then you're going to be addicted to that into a cycle, you know
Yes, it will be like a cycle. Absolutely, it will be like a cycle. And as you mentioned, coping mechanisms. These coping mechanisms, or what are these coping mechanisms? It's something that, if for example, if I had I keep going back to childhood a lot, because I believe that that is where our we built ourselves, and now when we are grown ups, we're actually functioning out of those experiences
I
and our
absolutely.
experiences of our life. We're,
Yes.
we're functioning from there.
Yes.
So my point being that when you coping mechanism. So if I had a bad day at school, okay, I come back home
Yeah.
and I see that I come and tell my mom that I had a bad day at school and
Yeah.
my friends don't talk to me. So she would be very empathetic, sit with me and say, oh, you had a bad day at school. What do your friends do? Listen to you and then tell you about life. That it happens sometimes. Friends are angry with you. What did you do? To make you reflect on these feelings, and then the child understands, oh, talking about it, or say if I'm angry, if I did something wrong, can be forgiven. I can ask for forgiveness and things can be fine.
Yes.
Then they learn these things and they learn to regulate their emotions. But say if I had a bad day at school, and my mom also is worried about something else. Say she's worried about her work, or there's something happening in her life, because
Yes,
parents are beyond parents, right? They have their own individuality too that we understand when we grow up.
absolutely.
So you go to them and say that, I had a bad day at work, a bad day at school, and she tells you that, don't irritate me right now. Things keep happening. Things, just
Yeah.
go in your room and finish your homework. You'll be fine.
Yes.
The coping mechanism may become overworking then. Look, okay, I then they finish their homework and they feel good. So
Yeah.
then they go. My emotions can be managed like that.
Yes. Yes.
Subconsciously, it's recording everything. Subconscious is a very tricky mind. It records everything. It records. It's like a database. It's like a database, or say a go down with its data, and you'll find a lot of information in that.
Yes.
So all of that, then they might learn overworking, or when they don't have those coping mechanisms, so you pick up anything, or you pick up anything to cope that, to manage that, because in the end you want to make yourself feel better again, right? You want
Absolutely.
to, you want to again start feeling, I would not say happy is also a temporary emotion, as all these emotions are very, they come in temporary, right? We all go through different emotions every day. So I
Yes.
think we again start feeling calm, or okay, things are fine now. So yeah, coping mechanisms, as I said, since from childhood, even in school, for teachers to empathize with their students who don't perform well, to give them that, that empathy and that support, instead of shaming that child that, oh, you can't do anything in life.
But how many
So
actually really do that? You know, how many
that's the
teachers
point.
have, how many teachers have we actually experienced, in our own, growing up years, that actually had that kind of empathy, that had that kind of, space, the safe space, how many of them actually had that for a child who they could clearly see is underperforming or is suffering or has a temper tantrum, because probably the child is not okay within, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
and
And sorry to cut you. I mean, so many of them, I remember when I was doing this teacher training for government teachers, PMC teachers, and I remember that one of them told me that how she's so open to her students, because she was their classmate, class teacher from first to fourth standard,
yeah,
and how open they were to her. They would come and talk about their families, what happened at home, and she would look at every child, why aren't they performing, what happened wrong, and keep her eye on everybody, which was so beautiful to hear that. And I told her that I wish I was in your class. It would have been, things would have been so simple then for me.
absolutely.
Um, but instead of telling the child that they can't do anything, or remove lashing out and telling them, oh, I don't think, when you grow up you'll be useless.
Yes.
And kids are like sponges. They absorb
Yes.
everything on their way. So I think to sensitize topic on in schools, at home, because wherever your personality is being built, because when you have experiences in life, you'll have the, say, the tools to manage it.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. And these tools, I think, Dimple, are so important, for kids as well as for adults now, I think there was this beautiful thing that you said right now, which kind of resonated with me. Um, what happened to us, what happened to us when we were in school or we were in college or, even at home, right? Let's just go back, okay? And think about the fact that no matter how happy, no matter how friendly, no matter how nice our home environments were or our school environments were, right? Um, do you remember when you wouldn't be able to do an assignment or you wouldn't be able to do homework, you would go to your teacher and you would just try to tell her the real truth, right? You would tell her something like, I just fell asleep. I couldn't do it. I couldn't focus, you know, like,
Yeah, yeah.
like, we were lashed out at, we were shouted at, we were humiliated in front of the entire class, you know, um, for I don't know if it's a different approach for boys and for girls, but because I come from a convent school, I come from a school where there were only girls, I do remember that, there was hardly any teacher who would actually, empathize, understand, probably give you a little bit of space and, explain to you or counsel you, and be like, okay, let's find out why you couldn't focus. Let's find out how you keep falling asleep and can't, be more academically powerful, right? Let's find that out. But no, we were made to stand outside the class for not doing
In
assignments.
class, yeah.
We were
Yeah.
humiliated in front of our friends and all the classmates that we had. So I think this is also another cultural setup which boys go through also, because of the bullying, because of the kind of way that they're spoken to in school. And I think, then they
Yes.
understand, and this is the only way they know that अगर कुछ सही करना है तो फिर डांटना पड़ेगा, अगर कुछ सही करना है तो अग्रेशन दिखाना पड़ेगा,
दिखाना
कि
पड़ेगा,
हमें वही
yeah.
मिला है तो अब हम वही करेंगे, right?
Because there they didn't know where, as I said, you told you before, to filter it. What can I give? What can I leave behind?
Yes,
Which is so very crucial in the up, when the kids are growing, as you mentioned school and how we were humiliated for not doing our assignments, which is very true, because everybody's mind and brain functions differently on different subjects, right?
yes,
For me in school, I sucked at math, science, computers. I didn't understand geography, I still don't understand directions. So I would not understand these subjects. The only thing I liked was English because it's easy to understand, Hindi, and that's all. And history, somehow I really liked history, and people were opposite, that they didn't like history. So these three subjects were at least a little bit of, I could understand, and rest of them I didn't. But we were always shamed for it.
yes,
And I wonder that to appreciate average children also, to appreciate, okay, this kid could be good in something else,
yes,
to give that motivation that if you can't perform in school, it's all right, but you could do something else in life. Like, when I could not perform in school, my father and my parents were very supportive. They would say, our child is not our certificate. He would tell us that.
yes,
And which brought me up in a way that, okay, my studies, my report card will not define my life.
yes,
And I grew up with that. And he always said that you're very good in talking. And I said, okay, but what do you make a career out of talking? Who knew then, right?
yes,
But I think I think now there are career counselors in school, and there are counselors in school where a child can go and speak to the counselor. So to have that safe space, to have that environment where to appreciate the student, that if they can't study or perform in something, to find a reason for it, or to understand why is that happening. And then if you see a child, an average child, to still accept that child and celebrate that child as you would celebrate somebody with 90%, right?
yes,
So these mark systems have, I think, built a lot of competition in school and among the students as well. And some who cannot score, who score 50, are disheartened that, okay, this is my life and I'm going to always be an underachiever.
yes,
So to instead, to appreciate them too, that it's not achieving, not everybody can understand or perform 90%. Not everybody is going to be 90%.
yes,
So I think, because some people are good in grasping,
yes,
some people understand language, some people express well when they write, some people, if you ask them for a memory, they look back, because they have this memory that can be played back.
ah,
So
yes,
every mind intelligence is different, and to appreciate that and to boost that is what, when they grow up, they'll be grown up confident kids. They'll be confident in their own body, in their own capabilities. They'll answer their own competence, which is very important, I
yes.
believe.
And I also very strongly believe in the fact that, um, you know, a fish can't climb a tree, and a monkey cannot literally swim all his life underwater.
Exactly,
The
very
same way,
true.
if men also understand this at a very young age, that um, they have a different set of talents, or they have a different capability of doing certain things, maybe lesser than some people, and it's okay, and more than some people, and then to be cherished for that particular thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think once that plays a very big role in the confidence building of each
Mm-hmm.
particular man as well. You know, uh, so here's hoping that the years forward with the kind of work that you're doing, the kind of work that I try to do in my own way, and the kind of work that everybody else now who has probably understood the need of the hour, who is very awakened, and everybody who
Mm-hmm.
puts in this little bit of effort to try to create change in their own way. I really hope that it starts increasing by the folds, right? Like we're doing our bit, and I think slowly, steadily, things will change and there is a need. However, the reason the conversation is happening today is because there is a need of change, and to be able to
Yes.
facilitate that. So I think Dimple, you're doing a fab job. I'm wishing you a lot of power, a lot of love also. To be able to continue doing the work that you're doing. Everything that we spoke about today. If we play it back, we'll understand the importance about how every single thing we spoke about today is so important in the foundation of every single child, be it girl, boy. Um, so I hope you do your work in tenfolds, and it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you today, to be able to speak about this very lesser spoken about, sensitive but very 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 important topic on men's mental health. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you also today over here in the conversation on Voice It, and to be able to hear your side of things. And I hope that if somebody wants to reach out to you, they can reach out to you personally on your handle at the safe space. We'll tag all that so that people can
Mhm.
actually get in touch with you and get help that they need.
Thank you so much, Karishma, for having me here, and for for finally speaking about mental health, and which is very important, as you said, into the hour. And yeah, I was glad to be here, your first guest, and I hope and I wish you also all the luck and all the love.
Thank
I
you.
have been seeing your work on Instagram. You work entirely with the person, not only with what is like, okay, do I have to lose weight? Okay, what else can we do with that? You work with an holistic approach, which is brilliant, I think.
Thank
Because with dietitians that I have experienced, has always been the one, eat this, eat that, eat this, and for 3 months, what do I do?
you. Yes,
And you're changing a lifestyle, which is, I think, beautiful. You're making them comfortable with their bodies, which is again very beautiful. Because in the end, physical and mental, everything is interrelated, right? It's in our body.
it is.
And yeah, so thank you for having me here, and I hope Voice It does wonders, and it could be a, I think your journey could be very very successful,
Thank you.
and very whatever you ever wished for.
Thank you. Thank you, Dimple. Thanks a lot. Thank you.